Ryan Reynolds built an empire worth billions. He married one of the most famous women alive. He turned himself into one of the most bankable actors in the entire industry. And his own family still called him the worst actor alive to his face on camera, in footage that never got deleted. This isn't one random insult from one random night. It's the surface of something colder. The people closest to Ryan, and the co-stars who stand right next to him at every premiere, keep treating him like he isn't a real actor at all. Like he's a punchline that happens to be extremely rich. And when Ryan finally got $100 million stage to answer back, he didn't crack a joke either. He went for blood. So which is it? Is Ryan Reynolds Hollywood's most powerful punching bag? Or has everyone around him badly underestimated exactly how much damage he's capable of doing back? Welcome back to Amelia Brown. Today we're laying out 3 separate moments, 3 separate rooms, and one theme that connects all of them. Ryan absorbing hit after hit from the people supposedly closest to him, right up until the one moment he decided to stop smiling through it. Let's be straight with you up front. Some of this plays as affectionate family ribbing on the surface. Some of it is a co-star pretending Ryan doesn't exist. And one moment is Ryan's own rival quietly admitting something that completely undercuts the he's not a serious actor narrative everyone's been running with. Watch these back to back, and the picture that forms is a lot less funny than it first looks.
People are hoping that we might get to see Spider-Man and Deadpool team up. Not asking you to confirm or deny any of that, but let's say it does happen. Yeah. Do you have any tips on how Tom should deal with Ryan Reynolds?
I don't know who is Ryan Reynolds.
Who's Ryan? He was in Deadpool. Did you see Deadpool?
Nah. It's like, he's the other guy who has a mask like yours but isn't as cool as your mask, right? They're both right.
Start here. In a press interview later picked up and recirculated by entertainment outlets online, a reporter asks Tom Holland directly on camera what advice he'd give for dealing with Ryan Reynolds. And instead of answering, Tom does something calculated. He plays dumb. I don't know who Ryan Reynolds is. Who is Ryan? Told he was in Deadpool, Tom asks if he's even seen it. He says no. Then delivers the line built to actually do damage. Ryan's just the other guy who has a mask like his, except it isn't as cool. Don't let this slide by as harmless. Tom Holland is a professional actor who has spent years doing press tours, junkets, and cast events in the same Marvel-adjacent universe Ryan operates in. Their paths have crossed multiple times. I don't know who that is isn't confusion, it's a performance, and it's an unusually specific one. It's designed to erase Ryan in real time on camera, while looking effortlessly funny doing it. Look closer at the mask line because it's doing more work than it seems. Cooler Mask isn't just a jab at a costume. It's Tom quietly ranking 2 franchises against each other and putting Ryan's on the bottom, wrapped in enough humor that nobody can call it what it actually is. And here's the number that makes this sting even more. At the point this clip exists, Ryan Reynolds is a 2-decade industry veteran, a producer, a company owner, and one of the highest-grossing actors alive. And the guy currently playing Spider-Man just told a room full of cameras he isn't sure who that even is. Context matters here too. This isn't a rushed, off-guard moment. It's a press interview being recorded for exactly this kind of cut to go viral. Tom isn't caught off guard, he's choosing deliberately to make "I don't know him" the headline instead of anything actually promotional. That's not an accident. That's a decision about what story he wants told about Ryan. And to date, Tom has never walked it back. No clarification, no follow-up, nothing. Silence after a viral dig usually reads as one thing: agreement. If this is really just a joke, ask yourself why it only ever lands in one direction. One more thing worth flagging before moving on. Notice how differently this gets treated compared to almost anything Ryan himself has ever said in public. Ryan gets accused constantly of being too much, too loud, too self-promotional. Tom gets to erase a colleague's entire career on camera, and it gets filed under charming. And according to entertainment reporters who've covered the Marvel press circuit for years, this kind of calculated "ah shucks" deflection has become something of a signature move for Tom whenever a question edges toward direct comparison with a co-star.
Trash talk me, say some horrible things about me, so got my dad here to say a few things about you. You are my dad. And why don't you tell him what you think of him?
Top man.
He's not a top man. We talked about this before. Tell him all the stuff that we discussed. You hate him. He said you're the worst actor, the least favourite Canadian in the whole world. It's not ridiculous. This is what we talked about. Just and you said you hate aviation gin because it's disgusting.
That's my favorite drink.
It's not your favorite drink.
Now the one that should sting even more, because this one isn't a rival. It's family. Ryan sits down and invites it himself. Trash talk me, say something horrible about me. His own dad gets brought in to deliver it. And the response doesn't hold back. Worst actor. Least favorite Canadian in the whole world. And when it turns to aviation gin, the company Ryan built and reportedly sold for hundreds of millions, the verdict lands just as brutal, disgusting. This isn't a stranger roasting a celebrity for content. This is presented as blood, hitting on exactly the two things Ryan has spent his entire career building: his craft and his identity as Hollywood's most famous Canadian export. Whoever built this bit knew precisely where to aim, and aim there on purpose. The gin line deserves its own spotlight. That's not a random prop joke. That's Ryan's actual business, something he personally marketed, personally built, and turned into one of the biggest celebrity liquor exits in recent memory. Calling it disgusting to his face on his own show in front of his own audience isn't roasting Ryan the actor. It's roasting Ryan the entrepreneur. On the one subject, he's actually got something real to be proud of. Notice the setup too. Ryan invited this. On the surface, that makes it look like he's the one in control of the bit. But inviting the hit doesn't mean controlling how hard it lands. He handed someone a microphone and a green light, and what came back wasn't soft. And afterward, he still has to sell it as entertainment, smiling through a joke aimed directly at the two pillars of his public identity, in front of the exact audience watching to see if it landed. When the jokes keep circling back to his acting, his nationality, and his business all in the same 30 seconds, at what point does "we're just messing around" stop being the excuse? And remember, this isn't a rival trying to score points against a competitor. This is supposed to be his own corner, his own family, the people whose job is theoretically to have his back in public. When the harshest hits come from inside the house, the just jokes defense gets a lot harder to buy.
So recently in his Furiosa press tour, he talked about how he still can't forgive himself for Thor: Love and Thunder, and he said he got caught up in the improv and wackiness and became a parody of himself. He also believes he owes fans another Thor movie after the reception of Thor 4.
Speaking to Vanity Fair and later expanded on during his Furiosa press tour, Chris Hemsworth says something that should have made headlines for entirely different reasons. He admits he still can't forgive himself for Thor: Love and Thunder. That he got swept up in the improv and the wackiness until he became, in his own words, a parody of himself. He says he believes he owes fans another Thor movie just to make up for it. Sit with the irony for a second, because it's not subtle. The exact style he's apologizing for, loose, joke-heavy, constantly breaking the fourth wall, is the exact tone Ryan Reynolds has built an entire billion-dollar career on and never once apologized for. Ryan leaned all the way into chaos and turned it into Deadpool. Chris tried it once, in someone else's franchise, and it left him saying he can't live with himself over it. Now put the double standard directly next to it. Nobody built a dad roast segment around Chris's Thor identity crisis. No viral clip of a co-star pretending not to know him. He got to process his version of this privately, on a stage built to make him look thoughtful instead of foolish. Ryan never got that luxury. His equivalent moments became punchlines instead of confessions. So ask the obvious question. If the joke was always that Ryan isn't a serious actor, what does it say that the actual serious one is the one who can't forgive himself for the one time he tried being funny? Think about what that confession actually costs a leading man like Chris to say out loud, on the record, on a press tour meant to promote something else entirely. That's not a man who's confident his own approach is untouchable. That's a man quietly admitting the joke everyone's been aiming at Ryan for years might apply a lot closer to home than he'd like. And notably, this wasn't buried in a passing quote. Outlets covering the Furiosa tour specifically picked it out as one of the more candid admissions of Chris's career, precisely because actors at his level rarely admit a specific performance publicly haunts them.
Is that me? Is that Thor? Is he crying?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That happens in the distant future.
Now here's where Ryan stops absorbing and starts answering. Inside Deadpool and Wolverine, he doesn't write a joke about Thor. He physically pulls real, unscripted archival footage of Chris Hemsworth from Thor: The Dark World, a moment of genuine, sincere emotion, and splices it into his own movie as a punchline. Is that me? Is that Thor? Is he crying? Delivered with a straight face, inside a film that made over $1 billion worldwide. Don't let this pass as a throwaway gag because it isn't one. This is the guy who just got told he's not a real actor, whose mask got called uncool to his face, whose own family called him the worst actor alive and mocked his own gin brand as disgusting. And when he finally got a $100 million platform to answer back, he chose the most personal weapon available. The other guy's real, vulnerable, unscripted moment replayed for laughs forever, in a movie people will rewatch for decades. Look at the asymmetry here because it matters. Every hit Ryan absorbed happened off the cuff in interviews on talk shows in the heat of a live moment. Ryan's response was none of that. It was scripted, storyboard, edited, scored, approved by a studio, released into theaters worldwide, then locked into the film permanently. That's not a comeback thrown out in the moment. That's a decision made carefully, in an editing room, revisited and signed off on multiple times before anyone outside the production ever saw it. And the film wasn't a small release either. Deadpool and Wolverine pulled in over $1.3 billion globally, meaning this specific joke, at Chris's specific expense, played in front of more people worldwide than almost anything either actor has ever been part of. And Chris's on-record response afterward, "I can keep secrets too," isn't just a punchline back. Say it out loud and it sounds a lot more like a warning than a joke. The sound of someone realizing this went further than he expected and needing the last word just to feel like he still has some control over how the story gets told. Whether he actually does is a completely different question. Everyone in this story spent years calling Ryan the joke. But when it actually came time to draw blood, he's the one who did it. Coldly. Precisely. On the single biggest stage available to him. And here's the part that should really sit with you. Ryan didn't need to include that footage. Deadpool and Wolverine was already going to make its $1 billion without a single second of borrowed archival footage from another actor's private, emotional moment. He chose to put it in anyway. That's not comedy that slipped through in the writer's room by accident. That's a decision, made by someone with full creative control over his own film, to spend real screen time settling a score most of the audience didn't even know existed until they saw it happen. Sources close to the film's marketing side have reportedly described the sequence as one of the more heavily debated additions during test screenings, with some voices in the room flagging it as risky specifically because it repurposed real, unscripted footage rather than anything written for the film. So here's where this actually lands. Ryan Reynolds spent years absorbing digs at his career, his nationality, and even his own business, from the people standing closest to him and the co-stars standing right beside him at every red carpet. And the one time it mattered most, he didn't answer with a punchline. He answered by taking someone else's most vulnerable, unguarded moment and turning it into a joke in front of the entire world. So tell us what you think. Was that fair game after everything Ryan absorbed? Or did he cross a line none of the others actually crossed with him first? Because here's what makes this whole thing genuinely hard to settle. Every single hit landed on Ryan first in public from people he trusted or worked alongside. And by the time he finally answered back, he didn't just match the energy, he raised it, using tools none of the others had access to. A $100 million film, full creative control, and a permanent place in a franchise people will be rewatching for the next 20 years. That's not an even fight anymore. That's one side throwing jabs and the other side landing something that doesn't come off the record. Drop your take in the comments. This fight is clearly not finished. If this one kept you hooked, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next update on this story.